It's just, it's so fun, you guys. Hello there, I'm Kristen, also known as Voolenvine, here on my YouTube channel where I chat about what I'm knitting on, what I'm sewing, what I'm making, or whatever other crafty rabbit hole I happen to be diving down this week. But in the meantime, I'm just so happy that you're here hanging out with me, chatting about all those fun things. So gather around, grab a cup of something, and let's get into things. I hopefully have a very fun episode for you, lots to catch you up on because I took a break last week. Dennis and I, the Mr. and I, got out of the city. We enjoyed some nature, some hiking, a very impromptu trip, but it was a very muchly needed vacation, trip out of the city, break from city life. It felt good. I'll chat more about our trip at the end of the episode where I chat about life stuff, but it's good to be back chatting with you lovely viewers. And yeah, so let's get into things. But first, just a quick word from my lovely and amazing sponsor, Skillshre. Skillshre is an online community platform where you can learn pretty much anything. I use it all the time, be it for my small business, Voolenvine yarns, honing my photography skills, or learning a new craft. I know now we're all stuck at home, so I cannot think of a better time to pick up a new hobby or skill, and Skillshre is the place to do that because they have a plethora of crash courses when it comes to activities like painting, calligraphy, embroidery, weaving, you name it. And spoiler alert, this week I'm chatting about how I'm getting back into quilting, and sure enough, Skillshre has plenty of courses on quilting that I've used to brush up on my quilting skills. If that sounds like something that interests you, click on the link in the description box below and you can enjoy Skillshre for 2 weeks absolutely free on yours truly. And for limited time, you can enjoy 40% off on their annual subscription now through the end of March. I could not think of a sweeter deal, so be sure to check that out. You're welcome, and thank you, Skillshre. All right, my friends, let's talk works in progress. No FOs this week. I know there were some of you in the comments saying, oh, you'll have that done by the next episode. You're so funny. No, I do not have anything done this week, but I do have quite a bit of progress. I have made quite a bit of progress on my Birkin pullover, a glorious pattern by Caitlin Hunter, and here we are. Ah. Yeah, my friends, I am on Sleeve Island. Finished the body. Here's the end, and then as you can see, I'm kind of sort of done with the first sleeve. I hit a little snag with the ribbing on the cuff. The pattern just has you knit a tube, switch to smaller needles, and knit ribbing. There are no decreases, but I kind of like a little cinch at the wrist. So I just did a rapid decrease in the round, knitting two together all the way around to cut my stitch count in half. And then I'm just gonna knit the ribbing. And when I did get to the ribbing, I was in the car and I only had a pair of short circular needles. I didn't have these little tiny ones, so it came out a little wonky, so I might rip back and redo it with these ChiaoGoo Shorties that I have. You guys, I know it's an acquired taste, but I absolutely love these ChiaoGoo Shorties. They're part of an interchangeable needle kit. I'll link to them below. I'm not sponsored, but I absolutely love using them. They're perfect for knitting sleeves, necklines, hats. Well, maybe not hats, but definitely socks. I don't like using these Shorties to knit socks per se. I actually prefer using the magic loop method. But when it comes to sleeves and cuffs, these Shorties are perfect. So yeah, that is where I am with that sleeve. And then, I'm making some good progress on the second sleeve. And of course I'm using another set of Shorties. So yeah, I'm making quite a bit of progress on this, and hopefully by the next episode, I will have this done, finished, and off the needles to show you. I can't wait. But I will say spring has sprung here in Brooklyn, New York, so we'll see how much wear I get out of this the rest of spring. But yeah, that is where I am with my Birkin sweater by Caitlin Hunter. The yarn, again, for those of you just tuning in, the main colorway is by Biche I Bouche, which is deliciously soft lamb's wool, and the contrasting colors are mini skeins from the Little Gray Sheep, all yarn that I picked up from the Edinburgh Yarn Festival 2 years ago. And yes, it is was quite noisy outside today. I don't know what's up with that, but anyway, yeah, that is my Birkin sweater. Next up is a relatively new cast on that I shared with you last week, and that is the Current Mood Shawl by Lesley and Robinson, who is also known as Knit Graffiti. I think I referred to her as Graffiti Knits last week. That was incorrect. It's Knit Graffiti. But she is very well known for her brioche patterns, really amazing, interesting designs. And I was inspired to cast this project on because I had dyed 3 colorways of my hand-dyed yarn, Voolenvine yarns, and I absolutely love the way that the colors played together. So I took to Ravelry, ticked all the boxes on the filters, and this popped up in my search results, and it was a match made in heaven, and I am so in love with this project, you guys. It's a little slow going. I didn't make much progress. I think I might have been here the last time. It goes really quick, I will say that. So, and it looks complicated because there's brioche in there, but honestly, it's very, very intuitive. It's very relaxing. And the only thing I really have to pay attention to are the beginning and the end of each row, because, you know, there are some increases and decreases. It's asymmetrical. And, you know, when it comes to brioche, you definitely do have to pay attention to the beginning and the end of each row, just to make sure that your stitch count is correct. But otherwise, you know, once you're in the midst of it, it's just, it's so fun, you guys. Yeah, this is my first Lesley and Robinson pattern, and I'm enjoying every stitch. And again, the yarn is my hand-dyed yarns, Voolenvine yarns, and this colorway right here is called Rose Water. This brownish beige rose gold colorway is called History Bound. I don't know, like, gonna see that. And then this orange red color here is Blood Moon. And yeah, these just, yeah. They make my heart sing so much. Yeah, and I'm trying to think what else I want to say about this, other than I'm going to have a lot of ends to weave in. I should probably start weaving those in now. And yeah, the needle size that I'm using are US size 4, 3.5 millimeters on my Lykkes. And yeah, Bob's your uncle. So yeah, that is where I am with my Current Mood shawl. And yeah, as I said, so relaxing, exactly what my knitting soul needs at the moment. It's a nice break from monotonous stockinette knitting in the round, in the round, in the round. So there you go. And now we move into a segment that I like to refer as the dark crafts. I'm just kidding. When I say that, it's tongue-in-cheek. I call them dark crafts because they're not crafts that I typically delve into. They're kind of crafts that I deviate into once in a blue moon because the spirit moves me, if that makes any sense. So I lovingly call them the dark arts, such as crochet and quilting and weaving. But they're all wonderful crafts in their own right, and I applaud anyone that loves doing them on a regular basis. For me, knitting is my first love, but I do enjoy diving into other rabbit holes from time to time. And this week, I blame my mother-in-law for sending me back down this rabbit hole. The rabbit hole of quilting. My wonderful mother-in-law that she is, she gifted me this contraption of sorts called a Go Me die cutter for quilting. And you know, while I have dabbled in quilting in the past, I think the main thing that gets to me with quilting is cutting out all the pieces. It's a lot on my back, and you know, it's just a lot of cutting and cutting and cutting before you actually get to the sewing and sewing and sewing, if that makes any sense. So she had an extra one of these Go Me die cutters and asked if I wanted one, and I of course got very excited. I was like, oh, yes, you know, twist my arm, I'll take it off your hands. But it comes with these die cut stencils. I'm not exactly sure what the actual terms for them are, but anyway, they're these plaques that you stick your fabric on top of, and then you place a mat on top of it. Once you sandwich your fabric, you know, between the die cut and the mat that goes on top, you roll it through. But once it goes through the machine and comes out the other end, your fabric is all cut out. You have triangles, and they have different variations of these die cuts, so you can get different shapes, different sizes, and anyway, it's really cool. And I did have quite a bit of fun with it this week. So here are some of my squares that I made. And these are from a set that I've had in my stash for quite some time. These are called Tonga treats. It's from a charm pack of 10 by 10 squares. And yeah, they look so pretty together. They're batik fabrics. So kind of like a tie-dye tribal look to them. Yeah, they come out so pretty. So here's the other one. So I made 3 of these, and all they are just these little sewn together triangles. And you know, the cool thing about the machine is that they cut out very precise triangles. So as long as you can sew a straight stitch, it's very hard to mess up your angles, if that makes any sense. But the fabric that I'm using again is by Timeless Treasures, called Tonga Treats. And it was really cool because in the pack, they look like a whole bunch of neutrals, like blacks, grays, and tans and taupes. But when you cut them all out and mix them all together, you can really see all the different colors that come out. So a lot of them are blue toned, pink toned. Yeah, they're really, really fun. I know I have another quilt project in the wings that I'm working on, but that is something that I bit off more than I can chew, I think. So I'm gonna let that one marinate a little bit, but I really did want to play around with the Gomi die cutter for quilting fabric. And yeah, so, you know, again, not sponsored at all. This was a gift from my mother-in-law. But you know, I actually do recommend it. Like if it really hurts your back to cut out all the fabric, you know, this is definitely a great option. It's, you know, bing, bang, boom, you're done. The one thing that I will say that I'm not too keen on when it comes to the Gomi is that it does produce a lot of fabric waste. It's not very efficient when it comes to using all of the fabric, but you know, you can certainly recycle that fabric, use it as cabbage for stuffing pillows or stuffies. And you know, again, it's not a significant amount of waste. That said, I would also not recommend it for a quilt kit. If you are going to use a quilt kit, I would definitely plan ahead and order more fabric just to compensate, just in case, because, you know, again, it doesn't use all of the fabric that you feed through it. So I hope that makes sense. But it is a really fun and helpful tool, especially if, you know, you're not into cutting out all that fabric. It's great if you have a lot of scrap fabrics and you just want to churn out a quick scrappy blanket, or, you know, just a casual quilter, or, you know, hey, if you are a professional quilter or you're an avid quilter and you are just sick of cutting out fabric, this is really, really handy. And I'm a convert. I'm a huge fan. But yay, new toy. Very, very happy with it. Thank you so much again, Carol, and I'm going to make you proud with all of my quilting coming down the pike. That, my friends, is all the creative content that I have to share with you this week. So that said, I'm gonna roll right into the blather segment where I chat about life stuff. As I said, Dennis and I went to Lake Minnewaska up in New York. And yeah, I am by no means an outdoorsy person, but, you know, given lockdown, I find, you know, a year later, I am so starved for travel and new experiences. And, you know, I'm sure I'm not the only one. You know, I'm getting a little antsy, and I miss just being able to hop on a plane and going somewhere new and experiencing new cultures and tasting new food. And you know where I'm coming from. So, well, that's not quite in the cards right now. You know, we can't just hop on a plane. The next best thing for us to do is just hop in a car, get out of Dodge, and, you know, that's what we've been doing, you know, road trips and just getting out of the city, enjoying nature, the great outdoors. And, you know, yeah, as I mentioned, I am by no means outdoorsy, but this was good. This was a great trip. Just fresh air. I brought my camera with me, so there were lots of photo opportunities. You know, as I mentioned, I've been doing a lot of street photography, and, you know, just taking a break from that and going straight to like landscape nature photography. It really kind of, you know, helped broaden my horizons when it comes to photography. And yeah, we actually walked all the way around Lake Minnewaska. It was just, it was a big lake. I would say 3-4 years ago, you couldn't pay me enough to walk around a lake that big, but I did it. I made it happen. And the roads were quite treacherous. They were covered in snow and ice, and thankfully nobody fell and broke their neck, but, you know, we lived to tell the tale. But yeah, all that to say that I think I've come out of this a changed woman for the better. I think, you know, I'm one with nature, and I'm learning to enjoy it, embrace it, and appreciate it. And yay, silver linings. Am I right? That said, I probably should wrap things up because I do have some work to do. I've got yarn staring me in the face that needs to be skeined and labeled. I've got yarn soaking that needs to be dyed. So that said, I'm gonna wrap things up. Thank you so much as always for hanging out with me. If you haven't already and you're new here, please feel free to like and subscribe down below. And until the next video, happy knitting, happy sewing, happy making. Bye.